As Sean Diddy Combs enters federal court, hearing testimony from his ex, Cassie, and soon members of Danity Kane, there's one high-profile star the jury might not be hearing about. Justin Bieber, breaking his silence on the ordeal after months of speculation over their one-time relationship.
I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being, and it's going to pay.
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they loved me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
When Homeland Security agents raided Diddy's mansions in March 2024, they weren't just seizing hard drives and electronics. They were uncovering a web of secrets that could bring down Hollywood's biggest names. And at the center of it all, Justin Bieber. For years, rumors swirled about Diddy's infamous freak-off, parties, and the celebrities who might have been involved.
She said on the stand, at one point she said that a male escort had urinated in her mouth and she actually choked on it. And it was at that point someone in the courtroom actually had to walk out of the door there while, Diddy sat at the defense table listening on here. But as she was describing these events where she said that, there were multiple male escorts that were happening at one time, these would happen for 2, 3, the longest 4 days at a time. And control is the word we need to talk about. That is what prosecutors really laid out. And you heard Cassie describe how every action during these freak-offs, which were between her and male escorts, not necessarily between her and her boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs, he sat off to the side really directing things according to her and mapping along with what he wanted to see. But he was in control, she said, of exactly how they did everything, from the platform shoes that she needed to wear, the clothes that she needed to wear occasionally, masks, wigs, whether or not the male escort could ejaculate, where he could ejaculate. Everything she said was controlled by him. Mind you, Brian, his children, 6 children, are in the courtroom at this point listening to all of this.
But now, as Diddy faces trial, Bieber's camp has finally broken their silence. Was the pop star victim?
Do you think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters and
Why did he wait until now to speak out? And what does this mean for the other A-listers tied to Diddy's empire? This isn't just a trial, it's a reckoning. Justin Bieber was just 15 years old when he uploaded a video to YouTube titled 48 Hours with Diddy. At the time, fans saw it as a harmless glimpse into the life of a rising star rubbing shoulders with a music mogul. But today, that same footage has taken on a far darker meaning.
So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie For the Times of Their Lives? Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full
Young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun. Now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did. The allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher. As we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs question, who allowed Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what he was up to, allegedly up to? That seems to be very clear.
And then another clip surfaced, and this one posted to Combs' YouTube page showing another interaction, this time apparently in a studio.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's awkward. I don't know. It could have been a joke for the cameras. Nima, what do you take away from these videos?
Yeah, it's awkward and it's weird.
And this wasn't a one-off. Over the years, their interactions grew even more awkward. In a 2021 encounter caught on camera, Diddy suddenly pats Bieber's chest mid-conversation.
And one of Bieber's most recent interactions with Combs was even more awkward than the prior ones, if that's possible. It reportedly took place in 2021. Nima, I want you to take a look at this with me, okay? So in the video, Bieber, with shaggy hair, under a baseball cap, he greets Diddy. He's got a big smile on his face, but something seems just a little bit off about the whole thing because Combs seems to pat Bieber's chest. There are some who have speculated that he was making sure Bieber wasn't wearing a wire, even though there's no way to actually confirm that. Nima, what do you make of that?
Yeah, awkward and weird. I'm not surprised people think that he was patting him down. Just not something that you typically see. And again, it's just part of this real pattern of kind of strange conduct between Combs and Bieber. So I understand why people are speculating that it's something more than just this innocent friendship.
Bieber's smile never drops, but his body language screams discomfort. Then there's the music. In 2023, Bieber quietly contributed to Diddy's The Love album, a collaboration that now feels like a relic from a time before the lawsuits, the raids, and the avalanche of allegations. Was this a strategic move to stay on Diddy's good side? Or proof their relationship wasn't as toxic as fans claim?
So in 2015, Combs presented Bieber with an American Music Award for Best Collaboration and gave him a big hug on stage. And then in 2020, Bieber did an interview with Apple Music. And in it, he expressed how he wishes he could protect other young artists like Billie Eilish from some of what he experienced in the music industry as a teenager. But he didn't really elaborate beyond that.
He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, never gonna force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything. Protect Billie Eilish from what? From who?
One thing's clear. These videos resurfaced for a reason. And with Diddy's trial underway, every frame is being re-examined for clues.
Was Justin Bieber a victim of his alleged predatory and inappropriate behavior. Well, I'll tell you what, now, as week 1 of Combs' trafficking and racketeering trial comes to a close, Justin Bieber's camp is finally responding. So his representatives told TMZ, quote, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve.
The timing was no accident. This wasn't just a denial, it was a calculated move. Hours before, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex and the trial's star witness, had finished her tearful testimony detailing years of alleged abuse. The media was in a frenzy. And right then, Bieber's team swooped in, not to defend Diddy, but to distance Justin from the firestorm while acknowledging the flames. But why speak up now after years of silence?
Bieber's camp didn't say anything until now, but I think it's important that he did. And he also, like many celebrities in Hollywood, want to stay as far away from the Diddy trial as possible.
Because you think that there was talk of him testifying and he didn't, he wanted to shut that down.
I think so.
Legal experts point to 2 possibilities. Either Bieber's camp feared his name would surface in court, or they wanted to shut down rumors before they spiraled further. The statement's wording was also razor sharp.
When he makes a statement confirming that there were people harmed by Combs, does that signify to you that he believes the prosecution's case, or does he think it's beyond the criminal case and based on the accusations we've seen in the civil arena?
I think it's probably the former. And like you said, the key part of that statement was denying that he was a victim, but really talking about the other victims. And it wasn't alleged victims. He said other victims, well, through his spokesperson. So I think that is very, very important.
That's a subtle but deadly choice of words, implying Diddy's guilt before the jury even reaches a verdict. And then there's what they didn't say. No heartfelt support for Diddy. No nostalgic throwbacks to their collaborations. Just a cold, factual deflection. Focus on the real victims. But if Bieber's name does come up in court, what else could be hiding in Diddy's inner circle? The question isn't just what Diddy did, it's who knew and looked the other way. Because if these allegations are true, this wasn't some hidden, underground operation. This was happening at his infamous white parties, in luxury hotels, with A-list guests just rooms away. Take Usher, for example. He's been open about living with Diddy as a teenager, calling it a wild experience where he saw things he wasn't ready for.
18 years old, and I should mention he was signed by Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor. Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to his original mentor. So this is a very big story, and the reason why we should discuss this and we should not diminish what is happening, it's not celebrity drama. This is actually the fall of Babylon that we are witnessing, Hollywood Babylon.
And since Usher was Justin Bieber's mentor, fans are now connecting the dots. Was this cycle of exploitation just accepted in the industry? Then there's Cassie's lawsuit, which claimed Diddy forced her to recruit other women, and sometimes men, for his parties. If that's true, how many celebrities brushed shoulders with this world and stayed silent? The rumors don't stop at Bieber. Names like Meek Mill, Drake, and even Beyoncé's inner circle have been whispered about in connection to Diddy's inner circle.
This isn't a Michael Jackson type case where, celebrities are rushing to Combs' defense. Very few people are. And the fact that you have someone come out that really isn't 50 Cent or someone who, is trying to make light of it or a documentary about it and really point the finger at Diddy, that's a big deal, Jesse.
Emily Johnson actually said that Cassie did on the urine of an escort when Diddy forced this escort to allegedly urinate in her mouth. They did say inner circle numerous times, I believe, really trying to amplify the RICO charges. Diddy couldn't have done all of these crimes without his inner circle, right? Without his bodyguard, without his driver, without his assistant. They talked about alleged kidnappings. That one time he kidnapped his assistant to go and try to find Cassie when he thought Cassie was cheating. I mean, it was wild. I feel like I could go on forever, but I won't. At a certain point, wasn't able to perform for Diddy and Cassie. He got erectile function because of what he saw. He said he saw Diddy at one point after an encounter drag Cassie by the hair from her computer seat all the way back to her bedroom while she was screaming and crying. And after she apologized and came out, he said that Diddy said, okay, you guys want to continue? And he couldn't perform. And that was it. From there, he could not perform after that. And he saw Diddy abuse Cassie 2 or 3 more times after that as well. And this is a muscular guy. He was 41 years old, a bit smaller, but again, he seemed incredibly affected by what he saw.
But here's the real kicker. Diddy himself joked about it for years. Remember his 2022 interview where he laughed about his freak-offs on a podcast? Or the time he bragged about training young artists on late-night TV? It was all played for laughs until now.
There's also this old Jimmy Kimmel Live segment, adding to fan fears about what might have gone down with Diddy.
Got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Oh, apparently not.
Everything ain't for everybody.
And if the rumors are true, what does that mean for Justin Bieber's past struggles and his future? For years,
it's an emotional time in my life, for sure. I've been having a lot of cries lately. Just all around, just being emotional. I think it just shows how much I care.
the world watched Justin Bieber's very public unraveling. The arrests, the meltdowns, the sudden retreat from music. Fans blamed fame. The media blamed drugs. But now, with Diddy's trial exposing Hollywood's darkest secrets, a more disturbing theory is emerging. What if Bieber wasn't just struggling with stardom, but with trauma?
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Do you realize how important your story is? Every time I have a conversation with someone who's been through this unique type of experience, I'm searching for some kind of truth that can help.
I commend you for going there and asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to go there because it's revealing, and I want people to take a look at my story, and hopefully my words can make a difference.
The timeline is hard to ignore. At 15, the same age he filmed 48 Hours with Diddy, Bieber suddenly had access to private jets, VIP parties, and an adult world he wasn't emotionally equipped to handle. By 19, he was arrested for reckless driving, screaming at paparazzi in now viral meltdowns. In his 2020 documentary Seasons, he admitted, "There were times I didn't want to be here anymore." But here's what's even more chilling. In that same documentary, Bieber warned about the music industry's predators, saying, "I don't want young artists to go through what I did." At the time, fans assumed he meant the pressures of fame. Now, the subtext feels horrifyingly different. And the changes in Bieber's behavior weren't just emotional, they were physical. His drastic weight loss in 2022, the canceled tours, the Ramsay Hunt diagnosis that left half his face paralyzed. Medical experts say stress can trigger these conditions, but so can PTSD. This trial isn't just about Diddy's past, it's about who enabled him. And the list might go all the way to the top. The most disturbing question isn't what Diddy allegedly did, it's how much of Hollywood knew and let it happen. Because this wasn't some backroom operation. These were pool parties at his Miami mansion, after parties at award shows, business meetings in his private jets, all with witnesses. Take the music labels. Multiple artists signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records have come forward with stories of coercion, NDAs, and threats. But here's what's chilling. Other major labels allegedly knew. A 2016 lawsuit from a former in turn claimed executives at rival labels would warn female employees about Diddy's special casting sessions. Yet no one went public. Then there's the media. For decades, Diddy's wild behavior was spun as harmless fun. Remember his Making the Band reality show, where he'd humiliate contestants for ratings? Or how paparazzi always seemed to miss his most explosive outbursts? Even when Cassie first sued him in 2023, major outlets buried the story until the lawsuit leaked. And the most damning evidence? The silence from his celebrity friends. For years, A-listers like Jay-Z, Kim Kardashian, and DJ Khaled attended his infamous parties. Now, radio silence. No support. No denials. Just a collective amnesia that speaks louder than any testimony.
In time, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, a case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of this guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Busby, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity at a home after the Video Music Awards in 2000. Nice. And weeks after the initial filing, Busby submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. And I've talked to lawyers about this before. There's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence yourself, right? You don't have to always go over to the other office. You can view the materials on your own. It's a way to better prepare for your defense. And Sean Combs' lawyers argued that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, electronic data that is in the government's possession, Judge Subramanian denied the defense's motion to amend the protective order, but without prejudice, meaning this issue could be revisited. So Subramanian's order reads, quote, while the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for a defendant to consider that would permit the defense to view the videos, access the information they're looking for, and even allow them to manipulate the video.
This trial isn't about one man. It's about an entire system that looked the other way. And the reckoning is just beginning. The Diddy trial isn't just about one man facing justice. It's about the entire entertainment industry being forced to answer for decades of silence. Because if the allegations are true, this wasn't just Diddy's secret. It was Hollywood's worst-kept one. And now, the dominoes are starting to fall. Lawsuits against other powerful figures in music have quietly been filed in recent weeks. Whistleblowers are coming forward with never-before-seen footage. Even streaming platforms are under pressure to pull Diddy's music, something that hasn't happened since R. Kelly's conviction. But here's what no one's talking about yet. This could be just the beginning. Federal investigators have reportedly expanded their probe into other moguls with ties to Diddy's inner circle. And with each new arrest or lawsuit, more victims and witnesses may finally feel safe to speak. As for Justin Bieber, his statement may have been carefully worded, but it sent a clear message. The era of protecting predators is over. Because in the end, this trial isn't really about Diddy. It's about every young star who has failed by the system. And if justice is served, the entertainment industry may never be the same. What do you think? Who should be investigated next? Drop a comment below. And if you think this story deserves more attention, smash that like button and subscribe. Because one thing's for sure, this is only chapter 1.